Am I the a-hole for turning up at my sister's work after she told me to not bother her? I think yes, you are, but let's see. I, 16F, have an older sister, ST, 33F. ST and I didn't know that the other existed until 5 months ago. When I had to go to the hospital for stitches, we share a dad and he came in just as she was discharging me. My mom was with me. Our surname is common. My mom didn't even know that he had an older daughter. Since finding out, I have wanted to know more about my sister. I've always wanted a sibling, but I'm an only child. I could have done with a big sister guiding me, and it turns out that I had one all along. All my dad has said is that her late mom turned her against him. He refuses to talk about her, but I did find out that they've had no contact since she was about 16. I found SD on Facebook and Insta, so I reached out to her. She didn't answer my first couple of messages on Facebook, but she only responded after I started liking some pictures on her Insta as it's public. When she responded, she asked that I stop liking her pictures. She has since made that account private and blocked me. I responded with asking her questions as there were pictures of her and her partner and her kids. I wanted to know more about my sibling and about her. Esty responded telling me to leave her alone as she wasn't interested in forging a relationship with dad or the spawn of Satan. I was offended at this and started asking her what dad has done for her to be so hostile because he was nothing but nice to me and mom. ST told me once more to stop messaging her and to leave her alone. She then blocked me. I think this person is really, she's been through trauma with her dad and she didn't want to be reminded, and so she just wants the wound to be forgotten about. She doesn't want any relationship with her half sibling. I think it's better if you leave her alone, but let's continue the story. On my way home from my job at the weekend, I dropped by the hospital where she works to see if she was there, to see if we could talk, even if just for a minute. She is forcing it, she should not. ST saw me as she was leaving and got mad. I told her that I only wanted a minute to talk to her so I could find out more about my sister. She told me that I was just like dad and that I needed to leave her alone as she had no interest in forging a relationship with me. She told me that if I turned up again when I didn't need treatment, she would be getting the receptionist to call security and have me removed. When I got home, I mentioned that I saw ST, call it Etsy, I'm sorry, ST to my parents, but that she had threatened to call security. Mom told me that ST maybe just needed time and I shouldn't have turned up at her work, but dad thinks that I did the right thing as ST was being rude and pushing me away. You are the one being rude, trying to force yourself into someone's life. She does not want to. I think your dad is not telling the whole story. He is victimizing himself and telling you that you are the right person. No, you're not. Please stop. Edit. I received a message this morning from my uncle, dad's older brother, who dad isn't close with. He has seen this post. Those of you who guessed that dad left ST and her mom for mine were wrong. Apparently, dad wasn't nice to ST and her mom, but it got worse after an accident when ST was 13, which resulted in her losing a lot of her hearing and having to wear hearing aids. My uncle said that he had heard my dad refer to Esty as defective a few times because she was deaf. Esty's mom put her into private therapy to help her come to terms with what happened and get to help her get able to communicate again. Dad tried several times to remove this, saying that Esty didn't deserve it. The following year, Dad went to prison for a year, and when he was in prison, her mom filed for divorce. They moved away. Dad and Esty used to keep in touch via letters. Hers went to my uncle's because her mom didn't want him to know where they were. But when she turned 16, she stopped after Dad wrote her a letter telling her that he wanted her to keep away from him as my mom was expecting me and he didn't want her defectiveness to rub off on the new baby. He's a very toxic parent, let me tell you that. I didn't know my dad could be so cruel. ST seems lovely, but now I get why she doesn't want contact. I wish I had left her alone. I didn't want to know about my dad. I'm happy you know that you are wrong, but let's read a comment that's very interesting. You are the a-hole. What you are doing is called stalking. And while your dad may be nice to you and your mom, he never told you this whole time he had another child. He was a deadbeat and possibly worse to her. Yeah, your dad's opinion is meaningless if he wanted if he wanted for his children to have a good relationship. He had 33 years to work on that. Yeah, absolutely. For real, this behavior is alarming. I'm sorry that she doesn't want to know you, but that does not mean you to get to stalk her. I know it's harsh, but please back off. You are the a-hole. I'm so curious as to why your dad kept this for himself for so long. This romanticized fantasy of having an older sister in your life is not reality. She is a stranger and she asks you to leave her alone. All I see is in your post is consideration for what you want. ST's feelings have been repeatedly dismissed by you. You're lucky she doesn't get a restraining order. If you didn't know that you were wrong and you kept on stalking her, she was she better have a restraining order. But I'm glad you know that you were wrong and you stopped with your stalking, and I wish you have a very good day, guys. Bye.